President Obama and Governor Romney are spending most of the final days of this election season in swing states. Polls show the race in many of those states is extremely close. In fact, it is a dead heat in the latest poll out of Ohio. So how does either side win over voters in the final days? Fair and balanced, we have got Sean Spicer, Communications Director for the Republican National Committee, and Brent Colburn, Communications Director for the Obama campaign. Gentlemen, welcome to you both.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks for having me.
We are going to start off with Sean. All right, Sean, some of these polls, obviously there's been a lot of momentum. The Romney campaign's been very excited about that. But there are states where he's never actually been in the lead, places like Ohio, Wisconsin. How do you realistically think there'll be a last-minute turn that benefits him?
Well, if you look at a state like Ohio, we started down 7-8 points a month ago. Then we closed it to 5-3. And as you said, this morning, it's dead even. The trend line, everything favors Governor Romney going into it. And I think when you look at our ground game, there's no question that not only do we have the momentum, but the work that's being done on the ground is what's going to take us over the top. What you've seen is the Democrats like to put out numbers about their early vote, and there's no question they do a better job early voting, but they're not doing A, as good of a job as they did in 2008, or B, as a share of the registration. In both of those cases, they're down, we're up.
All right, how does this work in the final days? You've got resources, but they are limited. I mean, you can't just blanket all 50 ads with states. How do you make decisions now about what states that you feel like are either a lock for Governor Romney or are unwinnable for him, and where you reroute resources where things are looking more competitive?
Right. We're definitely ahead in Florida, North Carolina, Virginia. We're doing really well.
Virginia's pretty tight, though. Washington Post poll this morning has the
I think when you look
4
internally,
points.
we feel very good about the way that things are moving in Virginia. We feel very good about the way things are moving in Colorado. And we're at a point now where I think we're looking at expanding the map. Places like Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Michigan. And I think Wisconsin's going to come in for us at the end.
All right, that is a tough one. We saw a lot of upheaval there with Scott Walker. Do you think that what happened there with his recall effort, which he fought off successfully over the summer, sort of maybe organized a grassroots ground game that maybe you didn't have there before, Republicans didn't have?
Yeah, it wasn't just the Scott Walker race, but we had a state Senate recall and a Supreme Court race that we won all 3 of those. And I think that the data and the motivation, the enthusiasm, the ground game that we put in place then is going to help us take us to victory in November when it comes to the presidential race. So we feel very good about the infrastructure that we have in the state, the data that we have, and again, when it goes to the absentee ballots and the early vote, what we're seeing is a continued trend, not only in states that I mentioned, but a lot more of these continue. The trend continues to go for Governor Romney in all of the data.
All right, let's talk about the fact that we have Hurricane Sandy now, a storm that, you know, our meteorologists are saying it is going to live up to the hype. It's going to be terrible, and people could be without power for days. And, of course, the primary concern is for the safety of the individuals in the path of this storm. But the fact is it could actually impact some of the early voting. Hopefully power would be restored by a week from Tuesday, but that's a real possibility. And for now, it's chasing the candidates away from these states. Governor Romney was set to campaign in Virginia with Governor McDonnell there. This Washington Post poll out this morning shows the president up by 4 points. There are, you know, our polls on Friday showed that Romney was up by 2 points in Virginia. It's a very competitive state, regardless of how you look at it. How much does it hurt him not being able to campaign there in these final days?
Well, as you pointed out, the #1 concern that we have is for the safety of all the people that are in the storm's path. Second, I think the storm's scheduled to come on station sometime in the next 24 hours and then last till Wednesday. I think that'll give us enough time for people to get back into to their homes and get power back, and then plenty of time to vote. So it may have a small impact on early voting, but I think that we'll be fine by Election Day. Or frankly, we hope so. I mean, that's again something that we really want to make sure that people are okay.
And we know you have your generator ready, as many Virginians do. Sean, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate your time.